It is time for our video game news. In this segment, we share the best headlines from the week in the gaming industry. And everybody, we have some very, very exciting news to share. EA is in the news again. Yes, I know. You just, it's one of those things. It's like one of those, bad eggs that you just can't get rid of. Or actually, it's like that disease that you just can't shake.
The cold just keeps coming back.
It's one of those things. And EA is in the headlines again. Mr. Andrew Wilson himself, as we all have come to know him as, the CEO of Electronic Arts, and other executives, as reported by GameSpot, have declined their cash bonuses and are giving the money to a developer bonus pool. So instead of taking the bonuses that they get every year and putting them in their pockets, they decided, let's put it in a pool and give bonuses to our developers instead. So they've had some bad fiscal years recently, as we all probably are aware. They had some disappointing fiscal 2019 results. They understand the challenges they face and will continue to focus on how they can apply the strengths of the company to capitalize on the opportunities. So what they did is they declined their cash bonuses, including Blake Jorgensen, Kenneth Moss, Chris Bruzzo, and Chief Studios Officer Laura Meal. Patrick Sutherland also reportedly gave up his bonus before he left in August 2018. EA actually offered him $20 million in equity bonuses to stay, but he still left to establish Embark Studios, which is now one of our most popular videos on youtube.com/gamer. So go check it out. But he didn't take it, and instead, the funds are going to go into a pool to help secure new hires, amongst other things. And it's going to be also, they're going to take their bonuses they decline and put it in a bonus pool to be paid to employees. Combined, the bonuses comes out to $4.8 million of money. And that doesn't count the $20 million equity bonus from Sutherland which is funny though, because this was money that was going to go to him to stay. So they were just like, hey, we're going to give you this money. And now they're acting as if this was money that he gave back to them. So like he donated it, but in reality, it's money that they needed to be putting on their employees anyway, I feel like. But it's like, no, he did a good deed. He gave his money back. I'm like, no, that wasn't his money anyway. He quit.
Major eye rolling, Brett.
Eye roll.
Major eye roll. What's the catch here? Yeah, people are getting money, but what's the catch here? Just like this is EA. They don't just give away free money like that.
Well, let's talk about their salaries they make now.
Yes.
So according to SEC filing, all of the executive officers received an increase to their base salary in 2019. So they declined their bonuses, but they also got a larger salary. So I'm looking at a chart. So in 2017, Andrew Wilson was making $1,083,000. And then in 2019, he's got a raise up to $1,192,000. So he's basically making a very comfortable person's salary additionally than he was making 2 years ago. $100,000, $110,000 more than he was 2 years ago. So that's his salary as the CEO. Blake Jorgensen, the COO or the CFO, went from in 2017 making $762,981 a year to making $850,000 a year. Laura Meal, the Chief Studios Officer, this year made $675,000 a year. And then Kenneth Moss, CTO, went from $619,000 in 2017 to $675,000. And Patrick Sutherland, who again is no longer there, was making $611,000. And when he left in 2018, he got a raise to $821,000. So a significant pay bump. And then when he left, he got paid $475,000 because he left early in that fiscal year. So that's a lot of money. It's a lot of money. But what's funny is that doesn't count stock awards, non-equity incentive plan compensation, and all other compensation. So Andrew Wilson, although he got paid $1.1 million in his salary, his total amount from last year was $18.3 million. It's a lot of money.
Look, you have way more than enough money here, and I understand people need to get raises over time and stuff like that. Makes sense, but like when you have people who are struggling just to get, just struggling to live, apparently, not in the sense that like they don't have cash to live, but like mentally, they're working their fingers into the ground to the bone just to get some of the stuff out. It's like you could help your cause to help these people to raise morale, get better games out, and make more money overall, right? It just seems like a common sense and win-win situation. But I feel like, again, you have these business people who don't know anything about gaming and only see numbers and statistics and poll people and be like, what do people like? Okay, we'll give them this. It's got to work, right? And they don't really care about the art that goes into this. And that's why they're making this much money, which isn't a bad thing. Like, good for them if they're making this much money. But I think if you had people who understood gaming and understand the industry and what like actually are gamers, I think we'd have a different situation here.
I still think they'd be putting the money in their pockets. They're executives. They're going to pay themselves a lot of money unless somebody puts a stop to it, government regulation, or the company themselves just being like, hey, like get a new CEO in there that's like, look, we're overpaid. We get paid too much money. This is just a fact. Let's take some of this money out, reduce it, and then put it in other places to make things better. If they did that, they'd be fine. But Andrew Wilson doesn't want to do that. Blake Jorgensen doesn't want to do that.
No.
They're like, hey, they're
making money.
Make the press like us more and say, we gave up our bonuses this year. But in reality, they gave themselves raises and then put the bonuses back into the cash pool that should have been going there anyway.
Right.
So it's a problem that starts at the top that needs to be trickled down to the bottom. Like they need to make the decisions themselves to adjust this so that more of this money. I mean, Andrew Wilson could easily get paid $500,000 a year and live a very, very comfortable lifestyle.
Yes.
And that leaves $600,000 that could go to 7 or 8 employees that you don't have that are getting now paid really well to produce new content for your games. And if you did that times 5 executives, that's like 50 new employees that you could employ with $70,000, $80,000 salaries that are pretty comfortably compensated. Plus, if they get stock, which their stock's been going up a little bit, so if they get stock in that all as well, that could cover a lot of this stuff.
Right.
And or take that money and say, hey, instead of just coming out and saying, hey, we're committed to Anthem, say, hey, I'm taking my bonus and putting it into Anthem to make it better.
Yeah. Again, the art is lost on these people, I feel like.
Yeah.
To some degree, Obviously, some of it's there, but I don't think they just don't see it the way we do. Again, I know he's Chief Executive Officer Andrew Wilson. He's doing a lot of other things. I understand. He can't just be on the ground floor making decisions or whatever, playing the game and testing it out, which I'm sure he does. But
no, I doubt he even does that. That's not his job. His job is to run a company. Like he's not the art guy. He's the business guy. His goal is how can we make this business profitable, and continue to be profitable going forward.
Right.
I mean the creative officers, that's the chief creative officer or whatever. That's their job, is kind of to manage that part of it.
Yeah.
But again, his mindset is, we're committed to making this game better. Well, you should have solved that a long time ago because they thought they were fine and they weren't. They should have been like, his job is to delegate and make sure that the people that are running down below are actually running efficiently and properly.
Right.
And clearly these guys missed that mark somewhere. And probably pushing things too much
on all levels, But I don't know. You could set a good example. This is good. It's positive, but I don't know. It's EA.
Yeah, they just need to work on restructuring a lot. Like they need to restructure the way they look at their business philosophies, which they have done. I mean, they got rid of the name loot boxes, so that's a step in the right direction. Surprise mechanics is way more friendly. They went and they're building single player games again, which people want. So finally they listened to that. I mean, that's they're doing some things that are right, but they need to do a better job of just letting their team operate. And when their team is struggling, they need to figure out, rather than saying, hey, let's just, okay, then pull resources into this and push it harder and faster. Maybe you needed to take a break on Anthem for a little bit and then work on something else that can get out faster and easier, maybe. Or say, hey, let's let this thing run in the fire a little bit. We're going to lose a couple $100,000 or maybe even $500,000. But it's worth it to let this thing sit in the iron a little bit longer, or in the fire a little bit longer, to get better. They didn't do that.
A great example is actually Elon Musk. He was on the Joe Rogan podcast, and he was like, yeah, I didn't make...
Before or after he smoked weed?
I don't know. Does it matter?
No, it doesn't matter. Okay. I just thought it's fun.
Maybe this wasn't
trying to make a joke, man.
Okay,
it's supposed to be funny.
Right. Maybe this wasn't a Joe Rogan podcast, but I heard it somewhere where he was saying that he couldn't even pay rent because he was paying everybody else.
Yeah.
To create the dream that he wanted to. So he was willing to go all in, even if it meant that he was going to be broke.
Yeah.
To make his company something, or just to grow, or to achieve the dreams of the ideals and goals that he wanted to.
But yeah, I read that in a Wired article a long time ago. Whenever he was working on Tesla was struggling. It was during when the economy was down and was dying back in during the recession, basically, and all the car companies were losing a ton of money, obviously Tesla included. Right. And there was a point in time where they got some money from money from the government to help. GM got a shit ton of money, Ford got a shit ton of money, Tesla got a little bit of money, but Tesla eventually paid it back. GM and Ford never really did. But prior to that, he was working on the Roadster. The Roadster didn't do as well as it should have, and they just started tanking big time. And then he still had SpaceX running at the time and was doing all that, and he lost a lot, to the point to where he had less than $100,000 to his name because he invested everything into Tesla to save it from death. And so that's what ended up happening. Like, he dropped it down to where he had literally a 6-figure net worth, which for Elon Musk is like crazy. It's like nothing for the amount of stuff that he's working on.
Right.
And yeah, I put it all in there, and it was a bet that was a good bet for him, because now it's back up and running again, and everything's good, hunky dory.
I mean, he's successful, but I'm not gonna say he's lucrative, right?
Yeah.
I don't think that's a good term for his company yet.
Right.
But that's the kind of people we need in video games, who love it so much that they're willing to put back into it because they want it to be successful. It's something more than just getting money and making a business work, right? It's art.
Yeah. So, you want it to succeed. You love it for what it is, rather than is it going to turn the next profit kind of situation. Amazon did a lot of that for a long time because they never turned a profit for like 20 years. But look where they are now.
Yeah.
So they're doing
super
good.
Successful.